Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Hello there, Star Wars fans. I'm Star Wars Only. Today I want to talk about my review for Thrawn Treason, the new book from Timothy Zahn. It's the third book in this new canon Thrawn Trilogy. And I want to talk about my disappointment with this book and my enjoyment with this book. I had an enjoyable time reading this book. I really did. I thought Timothy Zahn did a great job. The time frame is over a week. And when I first heard that, I was thinking this is very limiting already. This is a very limited time frame to cover a character like Thrawn. And what could he possibly be doing in that week that could merit a book instead of like a show or just a simple comic book that could really cover all this? Which I still wonder why they didn't do that, because I will admit this book in the end was a big waste of time. The reveals for this book were awful and predictable and just not interesting. For someone as talented as Timothy Zahn, I felt like he was very limited in this book with the material he was allowed to work with. You give him a week between one Rebels episode and another Rebels episode. We know how Thrawn's journey ends, at least in Rebels. We know that Ezra basically takes him out into the unknown regions, and we don't know what happens to them after that. So we have that curiosity of where Thrawn is after Rebels, and it's hard to have any tension in this book with his character because you know how his story ends. But Timothy Zahn does really well in avoiding that problem. He puts the tension on other characters. He puts twists on other characters. You revisit this character that I really wonder why they didn't put in the second book. Eli Vanto, who I really do enjoy. I think he's a great character. I think he's very well written, and I think he's the easiest character to connect with out of this entire thing. And he's probably the entire reason I think the original book from Timothy Zahn, the first one in this trilogy, is the best one. But in this book, he comes back. Eli and Thrawn reunite. The first book ends really great with Eli meeting his new Chiss Admiral, and you wonder, hey, where's he going to go? What's he going to do with this new Chiss army, this Chiss military, this Chiss civilization that he's now joining in a way? How is he going to adapt to that, and what role is he going to have, and what are they doing out there in the unknown regions? There's so many questions that you, of course, wonder as a fan, and that's what's cool about it. That's the mystery, and that's what really builds up these opportunities of story. And then you realize Eli's just a normal military guy. He's just doing data like he did for the Empire in the Chiss Ascendancy. And I like that. I like that Timothy Zahn did that, giving that feeling of, hey, this guy's just like an average Joe. You know, you expected this big grand adventure joining the Chiss. You didn't get that. There's a reveal on what he's really doing for the Chiss, and I think it was really bland and boring. I think it was stupid. I think it really didn't merit a reveal at all. It should have just been introduced from the start. But that's what this book kind of builds off of, these reveals that are supposed to be interesting and intriguing that really aren't. There is a unknown villain that is introduced into this book, and I like that. Basically, the premise of the book is that Thrawn has to help Krennic get rid of these pests, more or less, these pests of animals that keep fucking with his supplies, and that unravels into something bigger, into this threat that Thrawn knew about, the Chiss Ascendancy knew about, but the Empire is a little not privy to yet. And the Emperor's kind of worried about them, but not entirely worried. He's more worried about the rebel threat instead. It's stuff like that that you can possibly build on into the future. You can possibly make more stories with that into the future, and I like that. I like the story overall of this book, of this political petty drama that's going on between Krennic and Tarkin over who gets funds for the Stardust or the Defender Project. Cool. I like that aspect of it, and I like Thrawn basically unknowingly walking into something that's even bigger than what he expected and solving that within a week. The characters are the best part of this book. Thrawn, Eli, Pharaoh, Arlani, Ronan, even Krennic. Krennic was great in this book. Timothy Zahn really captured how he would talk and his anger, and even who his second-hand man would be like as well. It was very, very cool to see a character like that we've only seen in the movies so accurately portrayed in a book and has the dialogue and the writing so perfectly to the character. I really did enjoy seeing that part of the book. It's great to hear Thrawn talk to other Chiss and talk more about his overall goal and plan of what he's doing with the Chiss and all that. That was interesting. Stuff like that is cool to learn about, but we don't dive more into that, and this is the last Thrawn book, so it's not like we're going to get a lot more. And that's where this book and this entire story really loses me, is that it builds up these small things that you really do get interested in, and it doesn't do shit about it. It's the most annoying thing. I thought there was this like common concept in writing where if you mention like an axe in one scene, that axe has to be used in the next scene. Star Wars could give less of a fuck about that at this point. These new books have basically just been teasing at a greater story, a new story, a creative story that's never been explored before in the Star Wars universe, and never exploring it because I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea why these stories constantly hint at this shit, but never do anything with them. The first book for Thrawn came out in 2017, and that's when it hinted at the whole Chiss stuff and the secret stuff that they're doing. It's 2019, the third book is out, the trilogy's finished, and I still don't know shit about any of it. So yeah, disappointed, but good book. Is that the best compliment I can give it? So yeah, tell me your thoughts below. Tell me if you checked it out. If you enjoyed this book, tell me why, and tell me your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time, and may the Force be with you always.